guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Friday, and we're here with the Wrestling Wrap-Up. A handful of news brought to you in one easy-to-watch video, and we've got a barn burner for you today, because we've got some stuff to talk about. Of course, we're going to talk about Vince McMahon coming back to WWE, technically. We're going to talk about Mercedes Monee, because remember, it's not Monee, it's Mercedes Monee, and her New Japan debut. Talk about Kenny Omega winning the U.S. title and what that could mean. Royal Rumble plans, Ronda Rousey's reaction to what's next for her, William Regal back with WWE, and so much more. Because again, this is the Wrestling Wrap-Up. Every Friday and Monday morning, roughly around 11 to 11:30 a.m. Pacific, we bring you all the latest news in the world of professional wrestling that you may have missed over the last couple of days. You can watch this show either live on Twitch, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, or watch or listen later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live, you can help us out a couple of different ways. I got like a bubble right in my throat. Let me take a drink real fast. You can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by donating to the channel by hitting the button down below, or donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of two different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime or access to anybody's Amazon Prime account, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and they always give you one free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember, if you're watching or listening later, whether that's YouTube or whatever, you can support us over there as well. If you are watching on YouTube, you can hit that join button to become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Plus, you can get all of that by heading over to patreon.com/PW Unlimited. Also, remember, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something. Whether you're buying a new game, whether you're buying an old game, whether you're claiming the free games are getting bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, Fall Guys, or Rumbleverse, you can support us right here at no extra cost. All you got to do is put in this code right here at checkout, PW Unlimited. You will be supporting us, whether you're making a purchase on the Epic Game Store on your computer or through one of the launchers like, again, Fortnite, Fall Guys, Rumbleverse, or Rocket League on your PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, or mobile device for some of it. I know for Fortnite, mobile device, and maybe Rocket League mobile device. And then also remember, again, I'm going to harp in there, claim the free games. Claim the free games on the Epic Game Store, and then put in code PWUNLIMITED. You're already not paying anything. It's a free game. But for some reason, we still get a little kickback if you claim that free game and put in our code. Also, we're on TikTok, ladies and gentlemen. Been doing pretty good with views over there recently. But now, we need you guys to subscribe. We need you guys to follow our TikTok so that way we can grow and grow to the point where we can monetize our TikTok. So, you want to keep PWU going? You want to help us further our content, create more content, create better content? Well, we need to make more money. And another way to make more money for the channel, for the business, for PWU in general, is TikTok. Help us grow our following on TikTok, and then in turn, we can start creating even more types of content, different types of content, collaborating with other people, and so forth. We want to get to that 1,000 follower mark right now. We're at 728. We've actually gained over 200 in the last couple of days. And we just need you guys to help us get to that first goal on TikTok of 1,000 followers. That's the goal we want to hit by the end of next week. But, I mean, you guys have been killing it with views over there. I'm going to pull it up on the screen really fast because you guys have been just killing it with the support over there as far as the views do go. I mean, Vince McMahon video from yesterday, 20,000 views. Video about Sasha Banks, Mercedes Monee. It's got 4,000 views. Another one about Mercedes Monee, 2,000 views. Video about Cody and Roman Reigns for the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania, 87,000 views. Like, come on, guys. I so appreciate it. Now, follow it so that way TikTok knows you like it. But as far as today's podcast does go, and I still got this freaking in my throat. Hold on. Let me grab another bottle of water really fast, and then we will get going. All right. Grab another bottle of water. Let's start talking Vince, because that's the big story of the day. That's the big story of the week. That's the big story so far. Biggest story of 2023. So yesterday, news came out from the Wall Street Journal that Vince McMahon had informed WWE that he's coming back. And he's coming back on the board of directors. And I'm like, oh no. Oh Lord. What have we just gotten ourselves into? What is about to happen? And not long after that, I'm not going to read the whole thing or anything, but a press release came out from Vince McMahon's side himself confirming the Wall Street Journal report. Like, not long at all after that report came out. So it's like somebody within WWE must have got this press release before it went out to the public, leaked it to the Wall Street. This is just me assuming, leaked it to the Wall Street Journal. And then the Wall Street Journal ran their thing with quotes and whatnot. But one of the things that I want to read you from the Wall Street Journal report before I read Vince's press release states, quote, he communicated to the board that unless he has direct involvement as executive chairman from the outset of a strategic review, he won't support or approve any media rights deal or sale, the people said. Now some go, what does that mean? Well, what it means is Vince has, even though wasn't on the, so Vince was pulled from the board, not chairman, no, none of that. And in doing so, Vince still had what is called Class B stock, the majority of the Class B stock, which means he still had power, voting power over WWE's business side of things, which means if they want to go in there and sign a new deal with NBC Universal, if they want to go in and sign a new deal with Fox, if they want to leave Fox for ESPN, Vince can come in and say, I don't like those deals. They're not being signed. Veto. He can veto anything business-wise. Nick Khan finally finds someone to buy WWE. Vince doesn't like the deal, or Vince just doesn't want it to be sold. So Vince basically telling them, I ain't going to sign, or I'm going to veto any media rights deals, and I'm going to veto any potential sales unless I'm on the board of directors, and I'm basically running that board of directors. Vince then had a press release sent out yesterday, and again, we're just going to read little snippets from this press release, but basically it states, quote, Vince McMahon, the founder and controlling shareholder of World Wrestling Entertainment, Inc., announced today that he has taken necessary actions to position the company to capitalize on a unique opportunity to maximize long-term value for all WWE shareholders. It goes on to state that Vince will be replacing 3 members of the board with himself and former WWE presidents Michelle Wilson and George Barrios. It goes on to state that McMahon's new role will enable unified decision-making through the company's upcoming media rights negotiations and a parallel full review of the company's strategic alternatives, which Mr. McMahon believes is the right course of action and in the best interest of WWE and WWE shareholders amidst the current dynamics in the media and entertainment industry. As Mr. McMahon has communicated to the board, he believes there is a narrow window of opportunity to create significant value for all shareholders, and that to do so, the strategic alternatives review must occur in tandem with the media rights negotiations. He also expressed to the board that he believes these 2 initiatives require Mr. McMahon's direct participation, leadership, and support as controlling shareholder. Now, when you look at WWE's previous media rights deals, when you look at the deal they got with Fox in 2019, every story we heard did not involve Vince at all. Even before that, media rights deals were done by George Barrios and Michelle Wilson. I think Stephanie was involved in some of those, maybe Triple H, but the Fox deal specifically. Remember the story of it's Triple H, it's Stephanie, it's Nick Khan and maybe one or two other people going into a boardroom at Fox, and they see a TV screen with Ronda Rousey on it from WrestleMania and the SmackDown logo. And they end up negotiating a deal to get SmackDown on Fox broadcasting networks. Vince, not involved as far as the negotiations do go. He was there to say yay or nay, but he was not there to actually be in the meetings that we know of and say, well, we want this and we want that and we want that and we want this. You know what I mean? And so a lot of things started trickling and this and that. And every time we heard something on, so here's what happened in the Fox with the Fox deal. It's a lot of Nick Khan, Triple H and Stephanie. Nick Khan, Triple H and Stephanie. Nick Khan, Nick Khan, Nick Khan. And because Nick Khan got WWE such a good deal with Fox, that is basically how he got his job as president of WWE. Well, this morning, WWE confirmed all of this with their own press release. I'm going to read it right here. It states, quote, WWE is providing the following update regarding the composition of its board of directors and the exploration of strategic alternatives. Quote, today, we announced that the founder of WWE, which technically he is not, his dad is, Vince McMahon, will be returning to the board, said chairwoman and co-CEO Stephanie McMahon, co-CEO Nick Khan, and chief content officer Paul Levesque. Quote, we also welcome back Michelle Wilson and George Barrios to our board of directors. Together, we look forward to exploring all strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value, end quote. As Vince McMahon stated yesterday, quote, WWE has an exponential management team in place, and I do not intend for my return to have any impact on their roles, duties, or responsibilities, end quote. In connection with the change in the composition of the board of directors and in cooperation with Mr. McMahon as majority shareholder, the company intends to undertake a review of its strategic alternatives with the goal being to maximize value for all WWE shareholders. Here's a key thing right here, though. Quote, there is no assurance that this process will result in a transaction. Now, before we read the rest of this, which is just stating who's not and still on the board, this is a big one because WWE's stock, and I'm going to pull it up because it may have changed in the last 20 minutes since I checked it last, has risen with the talks of a potential WWE sale. Everyone is under the belief, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are under the belief that Vince coming back is to position the company in a way for him to sell it. And so if they think that Vince is trying to get, the best media rights deal possible and then sell the company with that higher evaluation, if they can get a higher media rights deal, that's going to raise the stock. And so how do I explain this? If there's a chance that people think the evaluation of WWE could be going up, that then raises the price of the stock because WWE is worth more. Yet, with WWE themselves saying there is no assurance that this process will result in a transaction, means we may look into selling, but this doesn't mean that we're selling for sure. This doesn't mean that the company will, in fact, be sold. WWE stock yesterday closed at $72.05. Overnight, it rose as high as like $89. Opened this morning at $80 and is now at $85.43. So there is some thought by whoever's in charge of hiring and lowering and fluctuating the stock that this is a good thing. Now, from everything we're hearing, it sounds like Vince may only be trying to jump in on the business side of things and you got to preface all of that, not be trying to take over creatively as well. Yet, don't be shocked if he does. Don't be shocked if he does. Now, in Vince's original press release, there were some talks about some letters that were sent to the board in December, basically from Vince saying, here's what I'm about to do. Get ready. And we now have some of those actual letters because they had to be, I guess you could say, included in SEC filings to put Vince back on the board. One of those letters that was sent in December of 2022. And I'm not going to read everything verbatim. I'm just going to read some quotes out of these letters. Vince wrote, quote, "Dear Board of Directors, I have always recognized that we have a massive responsibility to the WWE Universe." I mean, he's still in jargon. "Our fans deserve the best entertainment experience that WWE can offer, and I thank you for your efforts to keep our company focused on the goal, though, through this distinctly challenging year for WWE. Throughout my entire tenure with the company, I have always been committed to doing what I believe to be in the best interest of WWE and our employees, shareholders, fans, and other stakeholders. It also is why I voluntarily retired from the company during the pendency of the special committee investigation and fully cooperated with the committee and its independent counsel's process. My retirement was intended to give the special committee, its independent counsel, and the rest of the board the time and space needed to understand and respond to the allegations. Now that the completion of the special committee investigation has been publicly disclosed, I believe WWE has a unique opportunity during this crucial juncture to maximize value for its shareholders and all other stakeholders. Specifically, given the rapidly evolving media landscape in which more and more companies are seeking to own the intellectual property offered to their streaming platforms, I firmly believe that the best thing to do for all of WWE shareholders and other stakeholders is to undertake a comprehensive review of strategic alternatives. I am confident that our shareholders will support this decision." He goes on to state a couple other things and then sends another, and that one was sent, I want to say, on December 20th. No, I'm getting these mixed up. I'm reading these out of order, actually. That one was sent on December 27th. Now we have another letter here that was sent on... Okay, so that was sent on December 20th. I'm not reading these out of order. They responded to Vince on December 27th, stating, "Dear Vince, we write in response to your letter on December 20th. We fully agree with your assessment that the company's management team is exponential and are pleased to hear that Stephanie, Nick, Paul, and the rest of the management team have your full and unconditional support. We believe that our investors, employees, and fans agree that there is tremendous excitement at the company and among our fan base, and our stock has grown more than 40% in just the last year. We remain optimistic about the continued success of this management team and the WWE franchise overall, and we believe your support is crucial to this success. As you know, it is our this word I've never seen before, fiduciary, probably butcher the crap out of that word, obligation to continue to act in a way we believe is in the best interest of the company and its shareholders. We have always taken the responsibility very seriously, and our decisions are guided by this duty. With respect to your suggestion regarding a process to evaluate strategic alternatives and your role in that process, we are prepared to initiate such a process and are happy to work with you to ensure that it is the best process for the company and all of its shareholders. Indeed, we would welcome you and your advisors playing an important role in that process, including working together to identify the full range of potential alternatives and counterparties. To that end, we suggest that your bankers and lawyers meet with our bankers and lawyers in the first week of January to discuss how the best move forward together with this process. So basically they were like, hey, you got money, the company's got money, let's come together and see exactly how we can make more money. Vince would then respond on December 31st stating, "Dear Board of Directors, I appreciate your timely response to my December 20th letter. However, it is surprising that you did not address what I had sought to make clear in my letter, namely, that we have a unique but narrow window of opportunity to maximize shareholder value by combining the upcoming media rights negotiations with a strategic review process the board acknowledges is the right course of action for our shareholders, and that the only way to fully capture that opportunity is by having me, the company's founder and controlling shareholder, return as executive chairman at this crucial time so that I can work alongside the management team to unify the decision making related to these two connected initiatives. I would like to be clear that unless I have direct involvement as executive chairman from the outset, I will not be able to support any or approve any media rights deal or strategic transactions, including any committees made by or on behalf of the company regarding a potential transaction or process. This position is not driven by self-interest or a lack of confidence in the company's management team, but rather by my commitment to doing what is best for WWE and its shareholders, and my strong belief that maximizing the outcome of these processes will require close coordination and unified and efficient decision-making. I sincerely hope we can work together to unlock this tremendous valued potential. There's no rationale for your position to my return to the company, quote, would not be prudent for the shareholders' value perspective, end quote. To the contrary, my return in the context of the media rights negotiations and a potential value maximizing strategic transaction is necessary precisely for a shareholder value perspective because it will allow WWE as well as any transaction counterparties to engage in these processes knowing they will have the support of the controlling shareholder. Further, the special committee of the board has concluded its investigation and presumably all of its material findings have been publicly disclosed by the company and nothing has been communicated to me about any matter that would prevent me from returning to the board. So, while I am pleased to see that we all agree as the board fiduciary obligations to act in the best interest of WWE and all of its shareholders, it remains unclear to me how the board can discharge those obligations if it does not permit me to actively be involved in helping to lead these two connected initiatives from within the boardroom so that I can make a fully informed decision about whether any potential transaction creates the most value for all shareholders. Just keeps going on, just saying why he needs to be on the board. Basically, he threatened them, saying, I can veto anything you want to do business-wise, so I'm coming back or you guys ain't doing shit. It's basically how I'm taking a lot of this away. You guys want to do XYZ? Well, if I'm not there monitoring XYZ, it ain't going down. I can veto it and I can say, screw you. No. So that's everything that's gone down between Vince and the board over the last month. But there's still so much more. Well, not so much more, but there's still some more. Today, WWE will be holding a all-hands-on-deck employee meeting. Brandon Thurston of WrestleNomics sent out a couple of tweets we're going to pull up right here on the screen, basically of what Stephanie McMahon informed to employees today. WWE co-CEO Stephanie McMahon just sent an email to all employees attaching the latest WWE press release. Quote, today, WWE announced the return of our founder, Vince McMahon, to our board of directors and a review of the company's strategic alternatives. Please see attached. She then also wrote, Nick, Frank, and I will discuss this exciting opportunity at today's all-employee meeting. See you at 3:30. So that meeting itself is slated to start in less than 1 hour, 3:30 Eastern. Right now it is 2:45 Eastern, 11:45 Pacific. And so whatever's going to come out of that meeting, we'll see. Someone's going to leak something to somebody, and we'll know some sort of details coming out of this all-employee meeting. Now, this is a meeting taking place up in Stanford, so talent will not be involved with this. Triple H seemingly won't be there, and Speaking on all of that, we do have some more updates regarding this from Mike Johnson over at PW Insider, as he writes the following as well. To a person, everyone we've spoken to in WWE, whether it be a talent or an employee, have remarked on how insane the last 24 hours have been. While many have acknowledged they knew this could always have happened, it's remarkable how many seem to either be in denial or unaware that it could happen. Lightshed Media, in their latest podcast, theorized that William Morris Endeavor, WME, who owns UFC, could be a potential suitor to buy WWE, but would only undertake the purchase if Vince McMahon was involved with the company. There are also a lot of people theorizing that Comcast, which owns NBC Universal, could be the most likely candidate to buy the company outright, given their standing relationship. To answer a few questions, there's been no sign of Vince McMahon in Memphis ahead of tonight's SmackDown taping. There were rumors among employees earlier today that he was at Titan Towers, but we haven't been able to substantiate that. Of course, there's been rumors he's been seen at the Titan gym for a month or so, but no one would ever confirm that as legitimate as well. There's an update, 12:45 p.m. We are told McMahon is not at WWE's headquarters today. So there we go. Vince is not in Memphis where SmackDown is. Vince is not at Titan Towers where the headquarters lie in Stamford, Connecticut. And so this meeting is all taking place with Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Frank, I think his name's Riddick. I could be wrong on that one. I can get his name here for you guys in 1 second so I'm not speaking out of turn. I think it's, let me just double check this. It is, so the employee meeting will be held by Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, and Frank A. Riddick, the president and chief financial officer of WWE. Because when Nick Khan became co-CEO, he placed Frank Riddick in his old job of president of the company. And then I wanted to read one last thing here on the Vince story that does come from a Fightful. If it'll load. Here we go. Here we go. Fightful did write. This was from last night, yesterday afternoon-ish time. They state, Fightful has already heard from dozens of within WWE who were all floored by the announcement. Nobody in any department, talent, production, creative, or general staff that we heard back from was briefed, tipped off, or given any information before or immediately after the news broke. Not one bit. Here's a quote from somebody stating, not one bit, but considering some people from his regime were kept this long, they must have known it would happen. We'll see if they talk to us tomorrow, one talent told Fightful, referring to an upcoming January 6th SmackDown taping. Another top WWE talent wasn't only given any information, but also asked what the possibilities of a return to creative would be. The idea that Vince McMahon could return to creative has been a common concern among talent. The two sources we heard back from within the creative department had not learned of any adjustments to their duties and said they were sent some notes for SmackDown shortly before the Wall Street Journal's Vince McMahon story. Keeping with the theme, production employees were also not informed. The unanimous reaction that we gained from the many who commented on the matter was either bad news or, quote, news above their pay grade, end quote, that they wouldn't concern themselves with until they needed to. One source noted that the increase in the after-hours stock price is something to look at. One talent noted to Fightful stating, quote, finding out online is scary, and it's Vince, so I don't believe a word he says. I hope current management and everything doesn't change, but only time will tell. end quote, before noting that they have a lot of respect for Triple H and Stephanie McMahon. Another talent says that they believe there will be a roster uproar if Vince returns to head of creative. Quote, I can't quote how many times in interviews I've read or people I've talked to outside of the company said that Vince liked me, but then I got fired. He didn't like you. He didn't like any of them. He fired, or they wouldn't have been fired during the pandemic, one concerned higher-up said. Fightful closes this out by stating, quote, I would be blown away if he returns to creative, a recently signed talent stated. There we go. Yeah, that's everything we know right now regarding WWE and Vince McMahon coming back to the company. Like, holy crap. That's a lot. There's a lot there. There's a lot to process. There's a lot to think about. And we'll have to wait and see exactly what comes of all of this, because there is a lot that can still happen. Does the company get sold? Do they get a better media rights deal because Vince is there? Or could they get a worse media rights deal because Vince is there? There is the possibility of someone coming in and going, we're interested, but bad publicity in a lot of 2022. How do we know more stuff is not going to come to light? And then it looks not just bad on you, but us, because we're your media partner. With Vince there, he's still actively involved in the company. And so that looks bad on you guys and him and us. If Vince is not there, it doesn't look as bad on. That's what someone in, television could tell them. So we'll follow this story extremely close. And we'll let you guys know if we hear any other updates whatsoever on Vince being placed back on the board of directors and what else could happen because of that. But speaking of someone else coming back to WWE, William Regal is back with the company. And this is a good update, stating that William Regal restarted with the company just this past Wednesday. Regal, in an update from multiple different sources, was able to rejoin WWE starting with the first of the year and officially resumed and started with his new duties on the 4th. Mike Johnson of PWU Insider then wrote, as part of his new duties with the company, William Regal will be at tomorrow's Friday Night SmackDown in Memphis, Tennessee. So there we go. Regal does have a backstage role within WWE. We're not 100% sure exactly what that role is going to be. We know he stated that he wanted to go back and coach in NXT and work with his son, Charlie Dempsey, who was on NXT television. So we'll see where this all does lead to. But Regal is back. Regal will be at SmackDown tonight. And according to Tony Khan, Regal can't appear on TV. So we'll see where that leads to. But in keeping with WWE news, we got to talk about Ronda Rousey, who is no longer the SmackDown Women's Champion, but on a recent, I guess you could say, game stream, kind of talked about what she would like to do next in WWE. During a recent game stream, Rousey noted that she's thinking about taking over the tag team division, hinting at a tag run with Shayna Baszler, admitting that she's tired of feuding over the SmackDown Women's Championship with Charlotte Flair, as Rousey stated, quote, I don't know, guys. I'm kind of tired of Charlotte. I'm tired of that title. I already did it, I'm thinking of taking over the tag division. In early December of 2022, Rousey stated that she wanted to drop her title, noting that she's ready to, quote, change it up after having a long singles run. So we'll see where this leads to. They have, over the last couple of months, really built up the relationship of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler on screen. So if they become tag champs, I wouldn't be against it. It would be two big names to put those titles on. A legit name in Ronda Rousey, another legit name in Shayna Baszler, former champions as well. Because, Shayna Baszler, one of the best NXT Women's Champions over the last couple of years. Ronda Rousey, just Ronda Rousey. And so I think having Ronda and Shayna going for and eventually winning the Women's Tag Team Championships is a fantastic move to boot. Yet, that ain't going to happen before the Royal Rumble. If this new leaked, I guess you can say, card for the Royal Rumble actually comes to fruition, as this comes from Dave Meltzer in the latest Wrestling Observer newsletter. In the current version, the current edition that came out today of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Dave Meltzer wrote the following on the potential card for the Royal Rumble. We did get a lineup that was with planned listed. Meltzer wrote, quote, "We did get a lineup that was with planned listings for the Royal Rumble written in mid-November, which listed the Pitch Black match, Reigns versus Owens for the title, the Brood Edge versus Demon Finn Balor inside Hell in a Cell, and Rousey versus Raquel Rodriguez for the SmackDown Women's title as the rest of the card. Obviously, though, Rousey versus Rodriguez was changed, and Flair versus Rousey would make sense now for the show stemming from last week's SmackDown. So basically, it does look like we could be getting we've always heard, well, not always heard, we've heard for the last 3 weeks now that there's going to be a Hell in a Cell match between Edge and Balor. Looks like Edge is going to be Brood version Edge, and Finn is going to be the Demon Finn Balor inside Hell in a Cell. Of course, the Pitch Black match, which has been officially announced, still don't know what the hell it is. The Universal WWE Heavyweight Undisputed Championship match that we've been predicting between Reigns and Owens, and then whatever this SmackDown Women's title match is going to be with Charlotte Flair now the champion, possibly defending against Ronda Rousey. And then you also got stuff on Raw, like the Raw Women's Championship, the U.S. title, the Intercontinental Championship. So there's still a lot more here, but those are some matches that as of mid-November were planned for the Rumble. Now, as far as WWE does go in the Royal Rumble, it's their, to some, second biggest show of the year. Last week, or actually, no, not even last week, 2 days ago, New Japan Pro Wrestling held their biggest show of the year in Wrestle Kingdom. And two big things came out of that show. Kenny Omega beat Will Ospreay to become the new United States champion, and Mercedes Monee debuted on the show, challenging Kyrie for the IWGP Women's Championship. So first I want to talk about Omega and what he has planned, I guess you can say, for that U.S. title. Omega made his New Japan Pro Wrestling in-ring return at Wrestle Kingdom 17, wrestling and defeating Will Ospreay for the first time since January of 2019. After a brutal bout, Omega hit Ospreay with his one-winged angel finisher and pinned him to become the new IWGP United States champion. Speaking with Tokyo Sports, Omega stated that he plans on defending the gold in New Japan or his home promotion of All Elite Wrestling. Recalling his previous IWGP US title reign, Omega said, quote, "I want to defend the title in either New Japan or AEW. When I was the US champion, I had most of my defenses in Japan. So I want to do it not only in the United States, but also in Japan." Omega was the inaugural IWGP United States champion in July of 2017 and held the title for 210 days before dropping it to Jay White in January of 2018. So Kenny wants to be acknowledged in AEW as the IWGP United States champion, and we'll see next week if he comes out with that belt. We'll see next week if he actually brings the belt to Dynamite in that Escalara de Muerte or whatever it's called, the ladder match. The final of the best of 7. Now we got to talk Mercedes Monee. And I keep saying it purposely because, including myself, we've all been saying it wrong. It may be spelled Monee, but that's not how you're supposed to say it. If you listen to Sasha's new theme and the way she came out and everything, the first thing you kind of hear is you hear like some background music and then you hear her go, Monee. You hear her say that. And then she even said in the ring, Mercedes Monee. So it's not Monet, even though it's spelled Monet, it's Monee. So the O, say like a U, Monee. But with that, Mercedes Monee, the former Sasha Banks, did make her New Japan Pro Wrestling debut this past Wednesday or Tuesday night, whatever you want to call it, after Kyrie, in a quick 5-6 minute match, defended the IWGP Women's Championship against Tam Nakano. After the match, Kyrie would have her arm raised by the referee, and then the lights would go out. We'd see some stuff on the screen before Mercedes Monee would make her way out to the ring. She would make her way out to the ring and unfortunately, unsuccessfully hit her new finisher on Kyrie. But even with the botch, you can't give that botch all to Mercedes because Kyrie possibly didn't take it properly as well. So Mercedes may have initiated the move properly, and then something in the spin around of that move that was supposed to go into a DDT didn't go right, whether that was her fault or Kyrie's fault, and then they both just kind of fell. But with that, many also thought, okay, she's with New Japan. She's wrestling on their San Jose show. I want to say February 18th. Yeah, February 18th. Battle in the Valley in San Jose, California. And a lot of people thought, oh, and she's going to be Saraya's partner next week. She's going to be Saraya's partner next week. Yet, it looks like that is not actually happening. According to a new report from Dave Meltzer on a recent Wrestling Observer Radio, he basically stated that she's not coming into AEW. That she's not going to be the partner of Saraya, and that is why they just basically told us this week it's Toni Storm. It's Toni Storm. It's Toni Storm. Now, many people online go, oh, it's the swerve. It's the swerve. It's still going to be Mercedes. No, it's not. I could be wrong here. Meltzer could be wrong here. Everybody could be wrong here. But in saying that, with Meltzer going, I don't think she's going to be there. I don't think she's going to be the partner, this and that. Brian Alvarez had a theory stating, I think that she could still appear on the show for AEW, but New Japan Pro Wrestling may have first rights on her first post-WWE match, so she can't compete for AEW or anybody else till after the February 18th title match with Kyrie. Now, Alvarez said he doesn't have any knowledge of that, but that's just what he could think of, could assume, could be possible as far as everything going on with Mercedes Monee. So, unless they are really swerving us and she shows up and is the partner next week, I don't think it's going to be her. Many don't think it's going to be her. I mean, there is the chance that this is all storyline and Shida gets mad that she wasn't picked or that she felt disrespected and she attacks Toni, taking Toni out of the match. Saraya needs another partner, and we go from there. But storyline-wise, that would need to be addressed before Dynamite. Because if Toni Storm is attacked during Dynamite by Hikaru Shida to the point where she can't compete, why would Mercedes have been there? If we're under the impression Mercedes is the partner, right? Like if this is all a swerve to make us not think it's Mercedes and then it end up being Mercedes, why would she be there if she's not advertised as the partner? You know what I mean? Because word is she's not even supposed to be in LA next week anyways, but it would make no sense storyline wise. And if we're supposed to think this is all real, how could Toni get attacked, taken out of the match, and then Mercedes become the partner? It just wouldn't make any sense whatsoever. But as of right now, word going around is that she's not going to be the partner. Speaking of Mercedes Monee, she had some friends with her in Japan over the last couple of days, one being Bayley and one being Trinity Fatu, the former Naomi. And we have a little info regarding Naomi and her current status with WWE. Per Dave Meltzer in the latest edition of the Wrestling Observer newsletter, he does state that talks between WWE and Trinity Fatu, the former Naomi, are ongoing, but no new details have been signed as of the middle of this week. So with that, we don't know if Naomi's contract was frozen when she walked out or if it expired, because her contract was set to expire over the summer of last year, 2022. And so if that contract expired, could that mean that now they're just working on a new deal? Or could these talks be they're working to get her out of her deal? Mercedes got out of her deal, so what's going on with Naomi? Or maybe it's, hey, we want to extend your current deal. We want to re-up your current deal. We wanted this. We want to They're talking. That's all we know. Both sides are talking. Trinity, WWE. Talking. Hopefully something comes of it, whether that is her saying, nah, I'm done going somewhere else, or coming back to the company. Many within WWE are under the impression that Naomi will be back. Could she return in the Rumble? That's what I'm under the impression of, that there's a good possibility that she shows up in the 2023 Royal Rumble. But with that, guys, that's basically all we got for you today. We're going to wrap up the wrap-up by talking about what you can expect tonight on Friday Night SmackDown. Remember, tonight is Friday Night SmackDown from Memphis, Tennessee. And let's pull up their preview, WWE preview, on the screen. We got 3 things so far announced for tonight's show. First off, in a Royal Rumble qualifying match, it will be Ricochet against Top Dollar. Also, we do know that SmackDown welcomes back Charlotte Flair in the wake of her stunning SmackDown Women's title victory. And speaking of titles, tag titles will be on the line when the Usos defend against Sheamus and Drew McIntyre. So with that, these 3 things are so far the only 3 things that have been announced for tonight's Friday Night SmackDown. So with that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining me here, whether you're watching live, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, or watching or listening later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. I really do appreciate it. Again, guys, help us out over on TikTok. Go to our TikTok. I'm going to put it in the live chat right now. The link is just tiktok.com/PW Unlimited. Help us grow. Help us grow over there. We're getting the views. Now we need the follows. With that, guys, have a great rest of your Friday. If I don't see you for SmackDown tonight, have a great rest of your night. We're not going to be reviewing AEW. AEW's got 2 hours tonight. They got Rampage, which they announced a TNT title match, Darby Allin defending against Mike Bennett. And then right after Rampage, they've also got Battle of the Belts. Those are going to be, for people reviewing SmackDown and both AEW shows, it's going to be a late night. Late night, especially if you're on the East Coast, because frickin' Battle of the Belts don't even start till 11 p.m. tonight. Oof. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you guys. Actually, have a good day. We'll see you guys later for SmackDown.